This video is brought to you by Letsynthisize Academy, the #1 place for practice-oriented courses for serious music producers.
Yo, the Larsen here, welcome to the newest Synthesize Sunday episode, and today I want to talk about, again, a highly requested topic about Burr Oak through my remake of a small part from Symbolic like this. Like always, you can grab this whole project from my Patreon below and click here for my academy for awesome start to finish courses. I have a noisier style drum and bass masterclass, but right now let's jump into it. Yo, so here is the beat once again. Right, so as I told you in the intro, I took Symbolic as a reference. I'm not gonna play it for you at the moment, but let's start with the main drums. So it's pretty straightforward. I also made this ping sound inside operator. It's pretty boring. I took a sine wave and modulated it with another sine wave and a reverb. I have this weird shuffle and the main shuffle. So I guess the main point of this track is the main bass, and that sounds like this. So as you can see, I'm using a sampler for that. And to smoothen it out, I use Suit 2, and there is this widener only on the top band. So above 400 Hz, I use the free Ozone Imager 2 to make it really wide only on the mids and on the tops. It gives a lot to the loudness of this bass, honestly. And this rack is for the sidechain. So it's a self-made sidechain, and I'm modulating the volume of the bottom band that is below 700 Hz. So it's a nice little trick if you don't have any sidechain or volume ducking VST. And a slight EQing and a saturation to the end. Now there is one thing to talk about, is this pitch whatever. That sounds so cool, I really love it. Sounds like vocally a little, but very aggressive and very evil. As you can see, I'm playing with the EQ8. Because I miss the mids when we go up. But with the EQ8 boosted, it's really crunchy and very evil. But the other thing I did inside sampler is I played with LFO1 and with the volume and with the pitch. So as you can hear, when we go up, it really misses the LFO, so that little wobble. Inside sampler, it is very easy to make it. Right, so this is it inside sampler. Let's go to the main bass that is made inside faceplate. As you can see, I applied a little EQ after that. But the main bass is quite simple. We have 3 layers. We have the sub. So as you can hear, it's quite simple. It's basically just a distorted sine wave and the fifth on it. And it goes into lane 2 with the distortion and the filter. So if I solo it. Alright, so this is a sub, it's pretty straightforward. The noise lane is a very important part of this sound. So it's basically a saw wave, high pass filtered, and with the noise, frequency modulated on the phase. So as you can hear, with the unison, it's quite boring, but frequency modulating it with noise, we get that very nice distorted or compressed sine wave kind of sound, but only the top band. And it goes into lane 3, where we have an OTT. And this is the trick, honestly. If you don't nail this part, your Burr Oak kind of bass will never sound this good. And that is boosting the mids like crazy on the whole thing. And another slight EQ to add some little low and some high sit, because the sub and the mid aggression lane goes into lane 3 too, and the limiter to the end. So I would say this part is very important, this slight EQ. Let me show it to you all together. especially on D3. So this frequency boost is crazy important. Just imagine this sound without the boost in the mix. Let me show it to you. But with the boost, this is what lots of guys miss from this type of sounds, honestly. And let's talk about the mid-aggression lane, because without that, so on itself it sounds like this. It's a very simple thing, as you can see, a saw wave synchronized by LE41 and a third harmonic sine wave with the unison again. So because this is on a higher frequency with the sine wave and applied some distortion and lots of stuff because it goes into lane 1, 2 stages of distortion, saturator and high pass on it. It creates a very, very nice mid-range that is, again, as you saw here in this slide CQ at the end, is crazy important. So you can boost this thing without the mid-aggression lane. On itself, the sub and the noise won't cut through. But with this, it's really cool. Okay, so I resampled it, dropped into sampler, and you saw what I did with that. Alright, so when we get to this point, I added this distorted thing as a layer only. And again, this is quite simple. We have two sine waves. One is on fundamental harmonic and the second one is on sixth harmonic. All goes into this lane. While the starting point is an ensemble, so it's basically a unison on it. Without the ensemble, you just won't be able to get this tone. And of course, with a huge amount of distortion, you won't get it again. We have a disperser, another stage of distortion, some filtering. Because in the mix, it sounds a whole lot better if we filter it like using an LE4, so it sounds a lot more human in the mix. And then a slight CQ to cut the mids a little, stereo widener, another low pass, a little cut at around 400 Hz and some gain to the end. So this is it basically. It's basically just a sine wave with a sixth harmonic on that with some voices, some distortion, and this is all basically. And at the end, the staccato bass. Along with Anastasia vocals. Okay, so let's jump into it. So it's a little busier, but overall it's not complicated again. So I have two sine waves, well, one sine wave on the 8th harmonic, and this square wave is modulated by this grease wavetable from the factory growls. And I split them into two lanes, applying different process on them. So lane 1 sounds like this, and lane 2 altogether goes into lane 3. So the main bass sounds like this and starts with an OTT, a disperser that gives a lot to the sound, honestly. Some crazy crunch with a saturator, a huge cut in the mids and on the highs. Another bunch of distortion. Interestingly, with the distortion, it sounds a lot less distorted than without the distortion. And another saturator to the end. And lane 2, so this guy, has only a saturator. And all together, they sound crazy good. And as a final step on the bass, I applied some slight EQing, and the compressor here is not doing too much, just a slight compression on it, but the main goal here is the soft clipper. And the limiter to the end to add 2 extra decibels of loudness to it. So to wrap it up, if you want to sound like Burr Oak, you basically have to nail that mid energy on your sine compressed bass. You can do it using a FEM and some huge bump on the EQ. And to me, honestly, this type of bass plays a lot better inside a sampler. And to play around with the tone, you can use this simple FM distorted some staccato basses and some vocal chops. Symbolic is a crazy good tune, so I hope you learned a lot today, and don't forget that you can learn even more with my academy. You can click here for a very cool noisy style drum bass masterclass. Okay, so go to my Patreon to grab this whole project and click here for my academy. I have a very cool noisy style drum and bass masterclass. See you guys next time. Peace.